There once was a stock that put to sea. The name of the stock was GME. The price blew up and the shorts dipped down. Hold my bully boys, hold. Soon may the teddy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. She had not been 2 weeks from shore when Ryan Cohen joined the board. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take his shares and hold. Soon may the teddy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. Before the news had hit the market, Wall Street bets came up and bought it. With diamond hands, they knew they'd profit if they could only hold. Soon may the teddy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. No deals were cut, no shorts were squeezed. The captain's mind was not hungry, but he belonged to the Autism creed. He took the risk to hold. Soon may the teddy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. For 40 days or even more, the stock went up, then down once more. All gains were lost, it was looking poor, but still those traders did hold. Soon may the teddy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. As far as I've heard, the fight's still on. The short's not squeezed and the gain's not won. The teddy man made his regular call to encourage the captain, crew, and all. Soon may the teddy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. Soon may the teddy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go.
All right, now while I get everyone in the proper channel here. There we go. Everyone's in the proper channel for the show chat.
Finally, welcome everybody to the Gospel of Comics. I'm your trusty co-host Ayrton McCartney, and with me today is your host, the Church of Failure, who is still muted.
Deckhead.
Hello everyone, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I am your host, the Church of Failure, and I have fired the trusty co-host Ayrton McCartney for stealing my spot while I got everyone in the proper channel. Thank you. We are joined in the virtual studio today. What?
I was going to say, point of order, Church. Technically, as we just listened to an awesome shanty, Ayrton pirated your position, and that is perfectly acceptable.
Damn it. I was actually going to ask, where the hell did you find that little
it's
shanty?
been all over. It's been all over Twitter and Reddit today. It's fantastic. I saw it at like 3 o'clock.
I just read it, and, yeah.
My poor deceased father, who is adequate for grading the path, was in the Navy, so the sea is in my blood. This speaks to my pirate youth.
Well, I saw the
Exploration is in my blood.
I saw the GameStop stock sea shanty, and that was the most 2021 thing that will ever be. We can comfortably end this year now. So,
other than Biden doing exactly the opposite of everything he promised.
Yes.
Many hipster youth will remember the "you wouldn't download a car" videos, but I remember from many moons ago the actors who had recently starred in a film version of the Pirates of Penzance appearing in a short for a comedy film where they were playing pirates of the video store, and they were literally stealing boxes of videotapes. Because, piracy is real, kids, and it's dangerous.
How dare that?
I know, right?
See, and they say you wouldn't download a car, but if I had a 3D printer that could
you'd
print
fucking
a
download
whole ass car, I would so do it.
Oh no, I'm waiting for someone to do it. I'm waiting for someone to print off piece by piece a car and then construct it.
Other than a car, we can 3D print God.
I would absolutely download a car. I would download a car right now. But we are joined in the virtual studio by the host of the Autism Corner, Data and Mellow. How are you guys doing tonight?
It's
We're
lovely
doing
to be
fine,
here.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us on. It's very kind of you.
Oh well, I saw the show you guys did with the comic Denny, and you guys were hilarious, and I was just like, I got to see if these guys know anything about comic books. And it turns out
Yeah,
you
well,
do.
not me and not Data. I think you can probably throw us both out if you're looking for comedy.
I mean, Church, we're sitting currently, for those in the internet, we are sitting currently within your anthropomorphic box form. Arguably, would not the Autism Corner just be your rectory? Basically,
yes.
Yeah.
Can you use a different word than rectory?
No, that's exactly why we used it. You must abide.
Alright, Mr. Rectory.
Wrecked him. And damn near killed him.
The funny
Wrecked
one.
him. I hardly knew her. Anyway.
Hey, as long as your rectum stays away from Uranus, I think you're good.
I'm gonna need this for this show.
I already drank all my alcohol, so fuck you.
Rookie mistake.
Rookie move.
Yeah, I should have saved something for this show.
I accomplished bringing my coffee to the set, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, you actually remembered it this time.
I could make coffee, but then I'd have to get up.
Well, I have some Jim Beam and some Zero, Monster Zero. So I've
you're gonna fuck yourself up mixing those two.
Yeah, I have black spiced rum, so that's fun.
With Jim Beam, you got the bourbon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's smooth.
No, it's the lemonade yellow.
Tequila.
I think he means the fruity shit that they have, and I've had some bad evenings on the fruity stuff, so I just think that.
No, I legitimately consider the Jim Beam bourbon smooth.
No, I know, but the peach and the apple and whatnot.
Yeah, as smooth as drinking a hill of fire ants.
I'm used to drinking rye and to drinking rye that makes you want to spit fire after.
Just last night I was having a conversation with my mom, and I was feeling bad about the fact that I don't drink alcohol because I'm a straight arrow. But I had a horrible experience. I have been drinking.
Square.
I know it's to be square. I freaking love Sesame Street. But
this show's gonna drive him to drinking again.
But there I am. But there I am. I've been drinking Barks root beer lately because I like Barks root beer. But I got this friend who gets me Mexican Coke. He gets me Coke in the bottle from Mexico.
Yeah, with the sugar. Mm-hmm.
Right. So I had one. And I take a nice big drink of it, and I'm like, and it's like, suddenly I'm like making whiskey face, and I'm like, why am I making whiskey face? This is Coke. And my mom's like, well, my father used to strip paintbrushes and clean bike chains with it. And it's like, yeah, Coke is like the hard drinking man soda when you don't drink alcohol.
You can clean a car engine with Coca-Cola.
I only know the Army uses used up coffee grounds to clean shit. I'd never heard of Coca-Cola.
Pro tip: if any of you have old cars with nice chrome bumpers and hubcaps and shit like that, Coke is brilliant for getting the little rust spots out of chrome.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you ever have I do have a car like that.
If you ever have a battery leak, pour Coca-Cola around the battery acid. It won't get through.
Yeah,
that sounds incredibly intelligent.
Yeah, I had a former housemate, and he
But you have to lick one end of the battery while you're doing it.
I mean, that's awesome. But I had a former housemate, and he was
some sort of bodily contact all the time.
You can actually tell the difference. I had a former housemate who was the most beta cuck dumb shit, because he bought a brand new bike, constructed it, never used it, put it in my shed. Someday, somebody broke into my shed, right? We didn't know for a couple of days. So it got exposed and got rusty, right? And he just wrote it up. He's like, "No, it's ruined." I'm like, dude, no, take the bike chain off, put it in a coffee can, fill it with Coke. It'll work. He never did it. I would have done it, but I don't ride bikes.
I need, was this a motorcycle or...
No, this was a pedal bike. This was a regular bike.
Okay, because I've been trying to learn about motorcycles lately, because I want to buy one.
If you somehow get your hands on an Indian... you have gained 10 million testosterone and at least one free poon.
No, incorrect. If you get your hands on an Indian, throw it away because your electrical is going to catch on fire.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say ride the Indian. Good God, no. No, you don't.
And you won't have kidneys anymore because they'll be shaken out.
No, you don't ride the Indian. You fucking put that thing into storage and you show it off to people and say, "I have an Indian." Feel like less of a human being.
You don't ride your slaves?
Oh God,
okay, that's an entirely different set of conversations. And if you want to talk about
back to the topics at hand here.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we're going to talk about slavery, let's go talk about Asian comics and sweatshops. That's safer.
All right, so back to the topics at hand here. We've got we've got the phenomenon going on all week, right?
Fucking Stonks.
GameStop to the moon. GameStonk. Elon Musk tweeting out $300-$400 cap. Robin Hood shitting all over people.
You guys talk about stocks. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So
he's too pretty and dumb to understand this conversation that's about to happen. I understand.
I really only have one thing to say about it. So if you let me get this out, and I'll just shut up and let the big people talk.
Okay.
Because it's not the funny angle of things. I appreciate this entire shit posting process. I appreciate taking Wall Street to task for being a bunch of dipshits playing with our futures and getting away with it for decades. I understand where they're coming from, but I had this conversation with Ayrton and Novel Row the other day, and as much as I appreciate it, as much as I know where it comes from, and I do stand in solidarity with the people that are like, screw you, you can't take my money, or if you take my money, you can't hurt me more. We made the token point. We made the serious point. We need to stop now, because playing with the stock market to its self-destruction, we know what that looks like. And we're going to be less able to bounce back than we were in 1929, less able to bounce back than we were in the 1860s. This is not a good idea.
Speak for yourself, Rune. I've invested in board games, and I am fully prepared for the new depression.
Well,
I would much rather the people cause it than the fucking Wall Street.
If you don't mind me interrupting a minute, I mean, my viewpoint on it is entirely different to yours. Like, I'm going full sicko Joker mode on this. Like,
I'm back and I have wireless earphones, so I heard everything. And also, yeah, you talk first, Data, then I'll shit on you.
Okay, cool. As usual, I'm going full joke mode. Like, these guys have had it coming since like 2008, in my opinion. Like,
the housing market. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, in my opinion,
they've had it coming for 200 years.
Yeah, like, the faster their games get broken, the better, in my opinion. Like, we all know it's, like, rigged in their favour. Like, they've just got so much money to control it all. It's just an illusion that we don't have any power in it.
The thing is like, as many as 20 years ago, okay? I knew people personally, smart people, who were like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if we had a zombie apocalypse like Zombieland, or, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if we had a Mad Max future? Because they love the freedoms that those entail.
Okay, Mad Max future would be cool, though.
Hey, don't get me wrong, man. Lord Humongous is my totem animal. What I'm saying, though, is a lot of people are down with this idea that we just should take what exists and burn it, because everything else will be better afterward. We won't make the same mistakes, and we won't make the same tribulations. But the fact of the matter is,
always make the same mistakes.
And the fact of the matter is that a lot of innocent people who didn't. But the thing is, a lot of innocent people who didn't do anything wrong have to pay your apocalypse, like Wonderland, right?
If I get autistic for a second, this kind of reminds me of Dune.
Of what?
Have any of you ever read Dune?
Oh, Dune, yeah, the Spice Must Flow.
Started on Dune. No, this conversation will go on for like 4 hours if you get him talking about Dune.
Okay,
oh, that's fine. I'll just mute and end the show, and he can go on. It's fine.
I mean,
I want to tell you guys
Church needs to drink and not work.
I want to tell you guys about Cutie Honey. I want to tell you guys about Devil Man. I want to tell you guys about a bunch of bullshit.
I love me some Devil Man.
Get on with it.
Crybaby or the original?
Oh.
Yes. I also like the lesser-known Violence Jack.
Violence Jack is a semi-sequel.
I know.
Actually.
I know.
So get to the point. Get to the point, Mello. What did this remind you? What game?
It reminded me of finding the golden path in Dune. Leto Atreides II, he has the ability of prescient, which means he can see every shape of matter going forward into a certain direction.
Right.
Basically, he can see into the future. The golden path is the most optimal path for humanity. So he has to deal with doing all the horrible, horrible things he has to do to achieve that golden path. That's what it reminded me of.
That was fascinating. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Here's the thing, though. To extrapolate on what Rune said, it's not something that I think is actually detrimental to the stock market in the way that the media is trying to hash out and scare you that it is. What happened with GameStop, from the way it was explained to me by someone very, very informed, Avon Chartsdale over on Twitter. If you don't follow him, then you're fucking your life up.
Yeah.
He explained to me that, GameStop is in a position where several hedge funds have shorted the stock, which means they borrowed a lot of shares. Now that the shares have been borrowed at a higher price, they sold them and basically went with the gamble that the company's stock interest would go down so that later on they could buy the stock back at a lower price and give those shares back. Wall Street Bets got their hands on this information and said, hey, fuck those guys, and started buying the stock. Now, the only people that this really affects in the grand scale of things as far as monetary losses are those hedge funds, because those hedge funds eventually have to close their position and they have to buy those stocks back and give them back, which is why Melvin Capital lost millions and millions of dollars. I think
Melvin Capital could just go start their own stock exchange.
Right, and that's the thing, and that's why I don't have a problem with what's going on. If it crashes the market, if it causes the Great Reset, I don't give a shit if the people cause it. The people, that's our right. It's our market.
Exactly.
The people are the ones who own all the guns. The people are the ones who own all the land. The people are the ones who own everything.
Well, that's
I'm just saying. People, kind of mess with yourself a little bit.
I'm just saying there are two things here that are...
Can I slide in and reiterate something I said during our discussion?
Sure.
So I totally get where you're coming from, and I definitely agree that there could be a much better way to do this, but I'm not nearly as optimistic as you, and I don't think people are
real quick, Ayrton, we've got something pressing it in chat. Allison Pell, shout out, welcome to the channel. Not only did they short it, they made a short contract that involved selling 140% of the shares that existed. That means they were so confident that in the lack of faith that people had in Funko Pops, to quote Mr. Quarantine Coof over on Twitter. They were so lax on the idea of people needing those exclusives at GameStop that they sold 140% of existing shares at a short.
The 2 points that I feel need to be just solidified here. And like I said, this
real
is
quick, let Ayrton finish.
Okay,
and then you can jump back in.
Oh, yeah. So, I was just going to say that although I agree on the premise of what you're saying, Rune, and I think if people weren't so
people hurt people
and insane, we could build something better, but I don't have enough faith in people to do it. So if we're gonna destroy civilization, it might as well be funny.
Right.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm fully on board with kicking back and laughing about it. I'm just also like, let's be aware of the consequences.
Sorry, you continue.
I was going to say, the 2 things I feel really need to be made solid here, especially as we start talking about power to the people, and believe you me, I am fully an advocate for power to the people, is that this is not power to the people, this is power to the mob. There are many, many people who had no say in what goes on, and if these people are the people that decide to wreck the economy, I didn't have a say in it, my mom didn't have a say in it, plenty of people didn't have a say in it.
Well, I think... Go on.
But the other key point is there's a lot of alarmist conversation going on about, the government is interfering with the free market, the government is trying to stop the trade, the government is trying to save its ass. First of all, that's their job. That's what the FTC is there for. And in the second, they're not the ones stopping the trades, which is the thing that actually should bear interest.
That's the SEC.
It's Robinhood and other structures that are trying to stop it because they're trying to save their ass. And they might actually be breaking the law to do it, and that's what people should be looking at.
Well, and that was actually a point of conversation that I want to get to after we let Data and Mellow get in. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I've been rudely interrupting you a bit there, Rune.
No, it's cool.
Yeah. No,
I have mute control if it gets old.
Well, I just wanted to say as well, I think from a moral point of view as well, it's kind of like quite scummy to like bet against like American companies, bet that they'll fail. I think that's really an arsehole move. And I think from a moral point of view,
and I just want to point out that this is an over the ponder saying that. You can tell by his accent he is 100% authentic British, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Yes, I'm from the north of the UK, so I've got quite a strong accent.
Don't tell Novel Bro. You guys could get on greatly as long as you don't tell him you're English, because the Scots hate the English, like they hate the Irish and the Scots.
Well, actually, my
Irish friend all the time. I threatened to take a bunch of russet potatoes and a potato gun and shoot them at him.
So you're going to hit him with an empty gun.
My girlfriend is actually from Scotland, funnily enough. So
fantastic.
You two must have wonderful hate sex.
Yes. I'm sorry, that's a terrible joke. I'm gonna conquest you. We're gonna colonize you. We were colonized by wankers.
The girlfriend comes in wearing something skimpy, puts her arms around your neck, and whispers.
Chicks actually into that.
The girlfriend comes in wearing something skimpy. She puts her arms around your neck and whispers in your ear, "Wreck me like Thatcher's economy."
Oh man!
I don't know anything politics or shit, but I do know in the next 2 to 4 years we will see an economic collapse, and that's when crypto is going to be probably the main source of currency within the Unions.
I've got a short thing to say on that. Go ahead and get in, Rune, and then I'm gonna make my piece, and then we're gonna move on to the next bit.
Very short. Last thing I'm going to say about it. When I was in college, I took a course, basically social studies, called Looking Backward. And it was by the last 2 qualified professors at my college. They were very old men who were about to retire. and the entire thesis of the course hinged on the idea that history is cyclical, as we've said here, and they actually said that these sorts of things had been presaged. And it started with the post-Civil War Depression and went right up to modernity. And right then, in 2008, when the housing bubble, it was in 2005, Jesus, the housing bubble was forming, right? They said, we're not in a recession, we're in a depression. It's happening now. Pay attention now. Here I am 20 years later, and it's like, oh yeah, it's happening now. We knew. It was never a secret if you were paying attention.
Right.
So my final piece on that particular market, Mello said that crypto might be the future, and I disagree. I think that people need to pay very close attention to the idea that if you want to exchange crypto for cash, who owns that patent? Oh wait, it's MasterCard, the same people that are censoring people because of words. So it doesn't matter how much crypto you have. It doesn't matter how much crypto you have if you can't do a goddamn thing with it because you're a wrong thinker. And these are the people that have to be worried in the immediate future.
Into the right type of coin that you can transfer, then that's the whole thing.
Well, sure, but the thing is
crypto is decentralized currency.
It is, but the thing is
nation.
Right. But the thing is if the conversion software, if the conversion process is owned by MasterCard, it's the same thing as having a fucking chip in your hand. If you're the wrong type of person, it doesn't matter if you're fucking rich in crypto. You can't use it because MasterCard said no.
And what's more, sorry.
Go ahead.
What's more, it doesn't matter if your crypto is somehow non-denominational and non-partisan, because you have to exchange your crypto via a bank. It's going to be owned by one of the biggins. I have credit cards, and my credit cards through my bank are Visa. I fully understand that Visa owns my debt, and Visa basically owns my bank.
The only safe currency is cash, and that's one of the reasons that the founding fathers didn't want the tank. I'm making a point though. I'm making a point. Give me a second. Cash is the only safe currency, and the founding fathers understood this, which is why the Federal Reserve was never actually a federal entity. Now, the fact that they have more control than our federal government and that they make the laws now defeats the purpose of the Federal Reserve not being a federal entity. It needs the regulation at this point.
100%. Andrew Jackson was our best president because he told the
thaw that motherfucker out and put him back in office right now.
Take him up, put him back in office.
Have him duel somebody for supremacy.
No, Church, you're definitely right about cash. No, I do want to say, anybody listening or in the call who even is just like a mild prepper, so like someone like me that always has food, water, and bullets stockpiled just in case. Also stockpile, even if you don't smoke or drink, cigarettes and booze.
Yes.
Because
cigarettes go stale.
It doesn't matter.
Booze.
It doesn't.
Booze is your best bet.
Throw them in the freezer. They're fine. But
ammunition. Ammunition should be your number one.
Bullets. 22 rounds, 9mm, and 40 caliber rounds. 38 if you're fancy.
Hold on. Hear me out. Fox.
And
let him go. Go ahead. Sorry, buddy.
I'm sorry.
If things get shitty enough and no one can afford anything, if you have things that are a comfort vice, like cigarettes and booze stashed away, you can trade them for anything. You could buy a harem with that shit if you have enough of it.
Well sure.
With that in mind, let me give you Joe's one and only end of the world advice. My only piece of end of the world advice: don't go to the mall. Don't go to the guns and ammo. These are the places that the idiots are going to go.
Correct.
They've all seen the movies and they think that that's where they're going to go and that's how they're going to survive. If you are a smart man, if you are a man of culture, and you actually want to survive the end of the world and you don't already have the library,
Uncle Ted.
go to the library, for the love of God.
Because somebody's going to need to know how to make drugs and make glasses.
Right. Somebody needs to know how to make a home. You want a Foxfire book.
How to make moonshine.
And you can turn all those Harry Potter books into toilet paper the way they belong.
Exactly.
Okay.
Final
thoughts around the make moonshine. There's at least 2 people on this panel that know how to do that already.
I know how to make it. I know how to make mead.
I was gonna say at least 3.
it's like boom.
So final thoughts on the financial sector and all of that stuff, and then we'll start talking about some funny books, boys.
Yeah, short D's nuts.
My final thoughts are: fuck Wall Street, fuck hedge funds. I hope they all kill themselves.
Hell, brother.
In Minecraft.
Whoa, in Minecraft.
Listen, everybody listening, the phone number
Susan,
next to my name
he
on the
forgot to
screen
say
is
in
the
Minecraft.
Suicide
It's
Prevention
okay.
Hotline.
Yeah.
If you lost a bunch of money because
Susan's going to overcome
short selling, just call that phone number next to my name and they'll help you out.
You see, me and Mello have a Minecraft server. That's what he was referring to.
Right. No, I knew, but for the people that didn't.
She's in our Minecraft server.
I've got a question for the Anglo. Yorkist or Lancastrian? Yes. Yorkist or Lancastrian?
Well, without doxing myself, I'm quite inclined to Yorkist.
You are a very lucky man.
Hell, Novel Bro. Welcome to the show, bud.
What an entrance comes in with his thick fucking accent. I have a question for the fucking Anglo.
But it's all right, lad. I've actually got Anglo on my head.
Rune, what are your
dad's side.
Well, actually, Novel Bro, you just got here. What are your thoughts on the financial situation that we've got going on?
Suits,
you think we're going to the moon?
Suits, man. Well, my any thoughts on angering Suits? Well, it makes me tremendously happy. But yes, I suppose there has to be a limit, a line drawn somewhere. However, there can be another way that can be flipped around, because struggling companies have been given a lifeline now as a result. And jobs in these companies have been saved.
Well, and here's something that I brought up earlier. It brings up an idea that, nowadays going against those American companies is a fucking real gamble now, because if we don't want those companies to fail, they're not gonna.
Okay, it's great when you see Wall Street has literally just walked itself into becoming the world's personal slot machine.
Now, the real funny thing that I think is going to take place, and this is the final thought that I'm going to have on it. I'm going to turn it over to Rune, then Ayrton, then Data. The final thought that I have on it is, when you bring up the idea of shorting a stock, this is what an American Revolution is going to look like from now on. We're going to go where it needs to be.
Completely
We're going to take it to the
yeah.
people. We're going to take it to the people with the fucking money that are paying the people that make the law. And the only danger is that the people in the SEC, the people on Wall Street, those are the ones paying the lawmakers to make the law in their favor. And that's something that you have to fucking vote out of office before they make it an oligarchy and just completely rig every goddamn vote. And that's all I'll say on it.
You're spot on with that.
My opinion, though, more provincial, because I've already said, I think this is good. I'm in favor of the resistance, but I do think we need to know when to stop, or when to make our stand and not keep pushing, that sort of thing. When you come to the table, basically.
Well, the thing is Friday was the day to stop pushing, because that was the closing session when all the courts had to come down.
Basically, as a little classical leftist of a family with a history and unions and the like, I very much believe in collective bargaining. So bend their 2 hours behind their back, but force them to the table. with that in mind, if this is to be the 21st century depression, if this is our open to repeat 1929 in glorious color, I stand by the
And
argument
HD.
that and HD and 3D. I stand by the argument that some of the best comics and the best short fiction and the best long fiction ever written came out of the Depression and the 1920s.
And some great music.
Arguably.
And some great music. And if we have...
Because you can't afford to pay people.
Sure. But for comics and anything like that, no.
The number of conversations that begin with, remember this from the Golden Age and how it was refined in the Silver Age. We're talking about foundations being laid.
You can't pay for ideology. You have to pay for cash when there's a depression.
Sure.
You cannot pay
what I'm
for
getting
ideology during the depression. That's
what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that if this is to be a redux, I hope, my little idealist heart hopes, that this will translate on some level into a renaissance of free thought and new creative venture. Because when the chips are down and everyone is desperate for entertainment, that is when artists see actual games.
I can drink to that.
And the thing is remember Monopoly? Everybody's flipped a table over Monopoly and Risk. Those games came to prominence during the First Depression.
True.
But anyway, Ayrton, do you have anything to add before we move on to Data's final thoughts on the finance sector, and then we get into some funny books?
I mean, really just, any hedge fund managers listening out there, suicide is not the answer. If you're feeling suicidal,
it is the answer. It's the absolute
answer. It's not, Susan. Susan, it's not the answer.
Yourself.
It's not the answer, Susan.
Dial the phone number up on your screen, 734-930-3030, and you can get the help that you need.
If you can't get help from Charter,
kill yourself because you owe us all a lot of money.
Yeah, suicide is not the answer because suicide is the escape. Suicide ends the suffering. Please stay alive and give me your money, motherfucker.
I hate all of you. This is my channel.
That's what I was pushing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my channel. I disavow everyone on panel right now.
Hey,
you don't disavow me. Nobody disavows me. You invite me on. You don't disavow me. Come on.
I disavow you publicly, sir.
You can try, but you'll never be free of my taint.
I'm going to stay free of your taint. I'm a married man, sir.
Sir, it is not polite.
Do we want to get into comics?
I was going to say, it's not polite to show your taint to the world.
It's not polite, but
just yell at me when you want me to talk about Eastern comics and their history.
After the show, I'm posting a picture of my taint in the chat.
Again?
Yeah.
It just feels good not being the one to get disavowed 3 or 4 times on the show.
The Night's Still Young novel, bro. Final thoughts, though. Allison Pell again in the chat with the hot info. Short contract can be viewed by the public. Keep an eye out for idiot trying to short by insane amounts. The USA needs another Great Depression so Biden can reenact the Roosevelt New Deal and fix all the infrastructure that has been under-maintained ever since 1920. Biden doesn't need to do anything.
Twat. I will throw hands over that piece of shit.
But no, Biden's not going to do anything for the American people, I'm afraid. He's already proved that in his first week in office, so take that to the bank. But I agree with your financial advice. Your faith in Biden, not so much.
It's kind of hard to get shit done.
Although I still welcome you to the show, and I'm glad for your input. We need dissenting opinions so that we can argue about them. But
from across the aisle.
Biden will smash our economy into dust.
Oh yeah, he will for
Actually,
the extremely wealthy that have paid him to be in politics for 50 years. But anyway, to the funny books.
Yeah, to the funny books. Maybe one day there'll be a funny book about this.
not get like a final take?
No, you
Yes,
don't
yes.
get to talk.
Go ahead, Mello. I'll give you a final take. You already had one, but I'll give you a second.
Okay, thank you.
No, it's my show. I'll give him a final take.
Tezuka Osamu was the original creator of Tetsuwan Atom, formerly known as Astro Boy in the West.
You do a great impression.
I assume
Talking about anime. Holy crap!
an impression.
Be in voice acting.
But Tetsuwan Atom is known as Astro Boy in the U.S. I assume you're all familiar with it to some sort of degree.
Yes.
What the fuck is happening?
I don't know. I'm confused.
I'm talking about the history of Eastern literature and comics.
Mello, you're
God
bombing.
damn it.
You're bombing, Mello.
No, I'm entertaining. Shut up.
You should change your name to Obama Link with how much you're bombing the innocent in the chat right now.
Well, actually, that's a halfway decent segue, Mello, because here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. Everyone that watches our show regularly understands that I am basically an encyclopedia of comic books, of capes and tights from the 30s all the way up to the 2000s. Ayrton is a filthy casual who knows just enough to get by on the show. And RuneKnight has some very...
and I have a sexy voice. So
you have the sexy voice. Don't kid yourself on the entertaining venture. RuneKnight knows just enough to get by on the show and has some very specific interests that bring some very interesting conversations to the table. But we are...
Thank you for being polite about my fetishes.
But we are pretty much...
Eastern perspective.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We are pretty much focused on American comics on this channel. We have delved into some manga, like Guyver, and we watch a little casual anime here and there. I've expressed my interest in stuff like Serial Experiment Lane, Hellsing, the Slayers
Saga for me.
Stuff like that.
A lot of that is pretty modern classic.
So
yeah, but I'm going way back to the 1960s.
Oh my god, Mello, you're the only one who's gonna know this shit. I don't know why.
You'd be surprised.
Hold on, I gotta moderate Word Nerd in the chat so that he can have it out with Lime's dad. Now they're on equal footing. Apparently they hate each other, and I'm not getting into that because they both watch the show. I love Word Nerd.
Interesting dynamic.
I mean, Tezuka Osamu is a very influential writer. He has multiple awards named after him. The yearly awards.
Before you get into that,
normal mangaka, yeah.
Before you get into that, explain what you see as the difference between what you call Eastern comics, because you've explained to me that there's a difference between Eastern comics and manga. So where does that kind of fall in?
Oh no, I didn't say Eastern comics and manga. I said Eastern comics and Western comics.
No.
Manga
but when we were
Western comics.
So this is manga versus Western comics. That might have been a drunken
mistake.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
it is.
I'll forgive that. I make plenty of those myself.
Manga originates from puppet shows that would go on in Japanese street corners. They'd create all these different little paper puppets, and they would tell these stories using them.
Is there a manga version of Secret Wars that you can go on about for 20 minutes?
I mean,
I don't believe so.
I mean, if there was, it would suck.
I am not the first one to bring up Secret Wars in this chat. I'm not the first one. Hey, fuck you. We'll get into that.
If I could, if I can continue. A lot of it started with these people on these street corners telling their little folklore stories using pieces of paper. Eventually, somebody decided, hey, we'll take a note from from Western American comic writers, and we'll write our own comic. We'll pen them, and we'll ink them, and we'll do them in black and white to do them cheaper. And, we'll sell those. And one of the very first ones was Tetsuan Atom, which is also known as Astro Boy, which a lot of people will be familiar with.
Right.
Astro Boy was discovered by a TV channel executive who went on a trip to Japan and mistook the anime for a brand new Disney cartoon. So he had his company buy the rights to it and make it their own. They completely localized it and everything. The show ran at 12 frames per second, which, if you know anything about animation, the usual is 24 frames.
Right.
Same with filmography. But, so to cut corners and to cut costs and to make it possible, early stuff like Tetsujin Nijuhachigo, Tetsuan Atomu, Giant Robo, all of that, it went 12 frames per second. Babel Nisei, even old Devilman, the classic version of Devilman. They use a lower frame rate so that they could do more detail.
I've got Astro Boy up on the screen so that I can refresh.
I don't know about you guys, but I like big anime tits.
Then you would love Slayers then. Check out Slayers.
Well,
oh yeah.
I can switch into talking about Go Nagai, who is another extremely influential anime creator.
I want to ask Novel Bro a question. Who's your anime waifu again?
Oh, it's not even an anime waifu, actually. It's fucking Moira from fucking thingy, or what's her fucking name? Fucking Mago from fucking the Shadow. My waifus have to be useful and they have to be trad as fuck.
Just tell me when to keep going.
Well, hold on. Before you do, Astro Boy was actually not very well known in the U.S. until The Simpsons did a parody of him.
That is true, actually. Yeah.
Which is funny
because there was
on American TV
ported
forever.
over. It was still ported over.
Oh yeah,
given a lot of respect.
Oh no, it was. But at that point in time, America wasn't very familiar with manga. Now, to counterpoint, when did Astro Boy first become a thing over in the East?
I'll have to look that up real quick.
Well, I can tell you that comic books have been a thing in the States for over 100 years at this point. However, what we see as comic books today became popular in 1938 with the advent of Action Comics #1 and the introduction of Superman. Yes. Superman's costume was based on the strongmen and the weightlifters and everything of that time frame, where you had the skin tight outfits and whatnot. And the introduction of Action #1 had Superman lifting a car on the cover, which is something that some strong men could actually do. They could actually pick a car up from the front. Now, Superman wasn't initially able to fly. A lot of people don't realize that. There's a reason that the old cartoon led off with able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. He could Hulk jump, is what we know it as today. He could leap tall buildings in a single bound. He couldn't fly. He couldn't hover. None of that. He had super strength. In some iterations, he had heat vision, but that came later. But he was just a Superman in the beginning.
Yeah.
His powers evolved over time. Around the same time, about a year later, we were introduced to the Everyman hero, which also became popular. 1939
Bruce
Detective
Wayne
Comics.
Batman.
Yes, Detective Comics
that-
number 27. Yes, the introduction of Batman, who carried a pistol. A lot of people don't realize that. Even though Bruce Wayne's parents were gunned down, the motherfucker carried a pistol because it was 1939 and you carried a pistol.
Of course.
as
That big iron
many,
on your hip.
well, as many aggrieved fanboys will point out, because the Batman in his original incarnation was also about 2 steps removed from a Shadow knockoff, but that's neither here nor there.
But
Well,
if I can interject real quick,
Sure.
Astro Boy started in 1952,
Okay, so that was
The
actually
comic,
after the
not
advent,
the animation. Yes.
right? Or the
very
or
much-
the puppet show or whatever.
No, the puppet shows were a lot older than that.
Right.
They weren't Astro Boy. I'll have to look into them some more to give you a better, you know what? I'll wiki that while I'm talking.
Okay.
But
Yeah, the first manga was Astro Boy in 1952, and it made it to
I
the
don't know if it
American
was the
television
first manga,
in
but it
'63.
did
Right.
make it to America. Yeah, that's about the right
That was
timeline.
also the advent of Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics were became prominent in the 1960s. So that's when you
Okay.
got like your X-Men and whatnot. Now, you had the precursor to Marvel was in 1939. Captain America was in 1940. But Amazing Fantasy number 15, which is basically the precursor to Marvel Comics and Spider-Man, is 1962. So that's basically when a lot of historians believe that Marvel Comics got their shit going together.
Yeah, what I was talking about earlier with the puppetry is called Bunno. It is something that was invented in the late 17th century.
Okay.
And so, like a lot of puppetry theater, marionettes and it had its early starts. It later influenced, animated television. Like a lot of people in Japan will basically call their TVs puppet theater boxes. Because
right. It was the poor man's kabuki, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
No, because it would usually be animation.
No. I'm talking about the puppetry. Like the puppetry was basically a kabuki theater for poor people.
Kabuki theater is actually more like an early level.
There were 2 levels of it. There was the upper class level, and there was a lower class level. The lower class level had a lot less, shit put into it. It had a lot less effort. But it's still, it was still there, and that's what a lot of the people who, when it went on TV, that's what they compared it to. The higher effort stuff, they still do today.
Kabuki is more similar to like our interpretive dance, I thought.
Well, I mean, kabuki.
No,
could
not
be,
at all. Kabuki is theater.
Yeah,
Kabuki is a complete play. It's
right.
not
It's
even
the same as our Broadway.
because it doesn't involve.
Kabuki would be considered like our Broadway.
The thing about Kabuki that differentiates it from, say, Shakespeare is not the quality of the content, because they're both roughly analogous. It has to do with the fact that the exaggerated poses, the makeup, the appearances were designed so that people way in the back could see people and recognize their emotional states. You had to get all of the emotion in a single action, and that became codified over time as what we call a trope, basically a style choice. And then Kabuki is also audience participation.
Breaking news.
Kabuki also traditionally had male actors
breaking news
in
real
female
quick.
roles.
Live on air here. Market Watch. Power to the players or power to the dictators. A roundtable of experts conclude that Adolf Hitler would have held his GameStop stock should he have owned any. Eerie parallels exist between genocide and not selling your GameStop stock.
Well, now I'm definitely
do you want to weigh in on
now. I'm definitely holding now.
I'm not sure. Maybe Adolf would have had diamond hands because he loved to hold the line against all hope, didn't he? He'd seem like the kind of guy who would actually try and funnel more money on a dip. You know,
I feel like the better analogy would have been Napoleon, because that motherfucker just launched his army straight into death multiple times.
No, not only that, it's his descendants. Same with Wellington's descendant. Like, the Napoleon fucking Wellington thing is going on in fucking London as fucking traders.
But I would like, if we can get back to comics.
Yeah, the real question, obviously, is not would Hitler hold his stock, it's would Nobunaga hold his stock.
Alright, go ahead, Noah.
Nobunaga would hold it because he was actually schizophrenic. But,
yeah, he would have trusted anybody to tell like
Harenchi Gakuen, which means shameless school. Basically, it's the first ecchi comic ever made. Do you all know what ecchi means, or should I
define ecchi?
It's a step short of porn.
Yeah, it's softcore pornography.
There we go.
With comedy mixed in.
So
literally lost 2 viewers once you mentioned it. Thank you.
The only comedy is
so like a swimsuit edition.
The only comedy is my electile
Those two knew.
It started in 1968 and it ended up becoming a huge issue with PTA, groups and school groups and such, to the point where he canceled the series and made the ending all of the parents and teachers violently murdering the children at the school. That's how big of a middle finger
they had him laugh at that shit.
That's how big of a middle finger he left to the people.
Based in yellow pill.
Whoa.
No, I'm absolutely serious. And after that, he went on to create stuff like Cutie Honey, which I was showing data earlier. Cutie Honey is just full on ecchi, and also the origin of Magical Girl anime. Mahou Shoujo. Your shit like Sailor Moon, whatever the fuck you want to say.
Madoka Magica.
I mean, I wanted to say that, but I also didn't want to say that because...
That's why I said it.
But this guy, he started the ecchi genre, and then he turned it into violent gore for fun. To fuck with people. And he made some really gory stuff going forward. He is the author of Devilman, and if you've ever read the original Devilman manga...
I've seen that Devilman Crybaby, let's just say it's...
No, actual Devilman, not Crybaby.
Yeah, actual Devilman.
Crybaby is like baby's first Devilman. It's not bad, but it ain't great.
The actual Devilman, Mickey's head gets ripped off and put on a pike, and Akira finds Mickey's parents being brutally tortured and dead.
Let me make a comparison here. Devilman is like a Japanese Ghost Rider without the intervention of actual Satan. Shit goes down in that comic, and it's occult, and it's weird, and it's awful, and bad things happen.
Well,
and
Satan does appear in Devilman, and Satan wants to fuck the main character.
Well, I don't want to get too far off from the general topic, which is the difference between American and Eastern. So I feel like the counterpoint to ecchi, there is a high contingent of what we call, adult or R-rated comics that are actually in circulation and currently produced. I mean, if you've never heard of, what is it? Gold Digger. It's basically an adult furry comic. Go ahead.
Are they specifically designed for, erotic provocation?
Yes.
The thing is, and this...
It's highly unchristian.
The thing is, and this is an unpopular opinion, so I'm prepared to suffer slings and arrows for it, is that I actually believe the thesis of the show, that there is a difference between Western and Eastern comics, intrinsic by virtue of being Western or Eastern, is a flaw. It's actually incorrect. And the reason for that is that when you're talking about the history of manga, where does manga come from, the origins of manga, contemporaneous at the same time, we had comics to titillate, and we had comics of extreme violence.
Existed a long time before.
No. I'm not talking about the historical rudiments. I'm talking about when we talk about actual manga, when it's manga. So contemporaneous with Astro Boy here. The thing is that American Puritanism, in the form of the Red Scare and McCarthyism, killed
the comic
our industry that did not get... Yeah, the comics
McCarthy did nothing wrong.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
No, we're not having that conversation.
I will argue that for days.
You can argue that for days and be wrong. I will find you and kick you in the shin.
We
are not having that argument. What I'm trying to get at...
One at a time, gentlemen. One at a time.
What I'm trying to get at, which I think is far more pertinent, is that America had these things in the form of EC Comics, Vault of Horror, Trip to Fear, the list goes on. They got quashed for being un-American and being dangerous because of that fucking book, Seduction of the Innocent, and the idea that somehow comics were going to make American children gay. Okay? Japanese don't care. Different culture. They kept making their comics.
Let me make a counter argument. Let me make a counter argument that explains that line of thought. The more dopamine that you get off of, going into porn, the more you want, the more you need, the more you seek out. You keep going further and further and further. You see this in a lot of younger people. You go further and further and further, and then you end up down a rabbit hole. Like, you see these furries, these groomers, these pink pillars. Is
there a point to this, or are you just going to enumerate your personal fetishes? Because, I mean...
I sincerely hope not.
You already heard my point.
No, all you said is, fetishes lead to fetishes. It's like, that doesn't actually prove that Wortham was right.
To be fair, he was making a point about pornography leading to more hardcore pornography, and that is scientifically proven. Is stimulation?
Yeah, sure, but
stimulation needs more stimulation.
Right, but by that same argument, and the other half of Wortham's argument then is that if I read crime comics, I will commit crimes.
Well, I mean,
that's
it's
not the same argument at all.
Yeah, that's what Wortham said.
That's what Wortham said, but it's not the same argument.
At all.
Pornography and Wortham are not necessarily in the same vein.
That's the thing. If we're actually talking about pornography, And whether or not pornography is good for you, that's a complicated issue. What I'm talking about is that America...
It's not complicated. It's bad for you.
Well, that's your opinion. I enjoy my pornography, and that my degeneracy is my business. What I'm getting at is that
you're talking about. You named it as degeneracy.
Yes, because it's funny. What I'm getting at is that Western comics had the same things to which you are attributing Eastern comics, but due to Henry Wortham's book and a moral panic, we killed it. Those things existed, and we just think they're a problem. Okay?
I think that the Japanese free thought is a better way to go about it because of the reaction of the author of Harenchi Gakuen and how he reacted to the public outrage over his own novel.
Well, I think you two are making the same argument, just in a different vein. The argument being that basically it should be left up to the reader. It should be left up to everyone, and parents should parent better. Because if you're in a situation where you're left with the idea that this particular genre of comic book is leading to the downfall of my children, then you're completely off basis. However,
I agree. Sorry.
But what I'm saying is, however, if you're blaming comic books for the downfall of civilization, if you're blaming pornography, then you're blaming the idea that someone can't manage their addiction. And that's a completely different topic than, say, porn is bad. It's not that porn is bad. It's that an excess of porn without any, type of... I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for?
Porn is bad the same way alcohol is bad. Even though we all drink it, we all read it, it's not good for us.
Well, I mean, I only read it for the articles.
Porn.
I mean, to go back to what you were to go to what you were saying earlier, I do think there needs to be some degree of regulation, because I don't think just leaving it up to the parents is necessarily good, because I mean, there's a lot of shit parents, and just because our parents sort of monitored what we were consuming doesn't mean everybody's. So I think. And
well, here's the thing. And who are you to tell me that I can't consume something because you can't parent your kid? Not targeting you specifically, but as a general consensus, who are you to tell me that I can't consume something because you can't parent your kids?
And, I mean, my dad showed me the movie Dumb and Dumber when I was 8. So
okay,
sure. All I'm saying is there's a lot of neglectful parents out there, and they don't adhere to this shit, just
they're
because
not aware of it. But the thing is that's something that we have to address as a society, not something that can be. Because look at Japan. I mean, look at China, look at Japan, look at Korea. These are some of the most productive societies.
Taiwan number one.
Well, these are some of the most productive societies that we've ever seen in culture, period. And because of their, productivity levels, because of their ability to, maintain their societal, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Their societal norms and their demography, I guess is the word. They have vending machines with used panties in them. Okay, can you imagine that being something that we had in America? Yet we don't hear about cases of degeneracy over there like we do over here. We don't hear about the main concern because people are going to people. I'm sure there's a hefty furry contingent over there. I'm sure there's a hefty degenerate contingency.
Well, also, the Japanese legal system is terrifying.
Yeah, and to
Exactly.
counter that, Japan also has like a really high case of suicide. Like a lot of people just can't cope with that world. They find it really stressful. So, I mean, it still exists. It's just not like spoken about as commonly.
Look, let me drop a quote real quick from Mark Twain that I think is pertinent here.
Okay.
Censorship is telling a man he can't have a steak just because a baby can't chew it.
And that's fair. The thing is, and I agree with that sentiment. Don't get me wrong, Ray. I don't think that. Do I think that the prevalence of pornography is a problem in today's society? Absolutely. I think the fact that, I literally have to essentially restrict my child to free time based on Amazon. Like, a company has to create software so that my child can't access pornography. I think that's a fucking problem. Because I am reliant on that. Well, hold on. I'm reliant on that company to censor out pornography when it's so prevalent that there's no feasible way for me to do it logistically, right? Like, you can't stop your children from being able to access pornography in today's world.
Sorry. If you have Prime, you should show your kids the Nutcracker, the original, movie version of the play.
Okay.
It's
I
a
thought you
very
were talking about my
well-made
ex-girlfriend's
movie.
OnlyFans.
No, it's a very well done movie that my niece was watching during Christmas on Amazon,
Okay.
and that is something you should keep in mind, and you should try to look out for stuff for them to watch.
But if you don't mind me just saying this as well, I think what you were saying about, having to like monitor what your kid's consuming, I think that sums it up, I mean, it's all well and good for coonbrains to say, lol, let me consume it, but it affects other people, and I think that's quite a selfish way to view like the freeness of pornography.
Well, the thing is if you're equating that, and I don't think that there's an actual equation to be had there. Let's just make that clear real quick.
Can I just make a point about porn real quick?
I mean, you
As a
can.
master reader, yes, you can.
No, it's a serious point. There's no jokes, I swear.
Okay.
I don't believe you, but sure.
Okay, so when we were all growing up, we're all close enough in age. You had like your secret like physical.
I'm 107
like,
years
porn.
old. I don't believe you.
Okay, you know what I mean. You had like your physical porn stash. Like me and my friends, there was like one of those drainage.
Yeah, you had your
pipes.
skin rags.
We had like porn magazines like stored in a box and like in like a Tupperware thing to keep it out of the water and like a drainage pipe in our neighborhood and stuff like that. But like kids today, you type in the wrong thing on Google and you accidentally get a ton of porn. I don't think it's necessarily the porn itself that's the issue. It's the ease of access to the porn.
That's
right
the point
at your
that I was
fingertips.
making.
Oh, okay.
Sure, yeah, I agree, but I think also there is some like argument to be had that pornography has got like way worse since maybe we were kids, because when we were kids, sort of our exposure to it was like Playboy magazines and shit. But now online, you have like entire forums of degenerates like sharing like really fucked up shit.
If you guys grew up on the internet, you had your friends and you meet spin and shit like that.
Yeah, sure, exactly. And you have like animal fetish forums just openly accepted now.
Yeah.
The two points.
Are they accepted?
Mostly.
The two problems we have are, one, I don't think anyone here at this gathering is okay with the idea that the least qualified parents are going to make decisions for the most qualified to consume. Okay? Because we're not talking about having to deal with parents who will actually parent. And we're not talking about this vague notion of, well, we should expect parents to parent, but we're not going to actually convince them to do anything. We're talking about the soccer moms who don't pay attention, who, it says...
We're also talking about the mothers in the ghetto who keep having children for more welfare.
Yeah, but it's not even that. It's specifically we're talking about the people that see that it says 18 plus on the box and buy the video game anyway because little Timmy wants it and don't even screen it before they hand it to him and then get mad after the fact. Okay, that level of uninvolved parent. The second
okay, the Karen type.
Yeah, the Karen. The second facet...
Tipper Gore, if you will.
Absolutely Tipper Gore. Fucking PRMC. D. Snyder, save us. The other... the other thing is that having said that, right, that we're competing with the dumbest portions of our society. I'm trying to parse it. It was there and now it's trying to escape. I need to shoot it in the leg.
So your thoughts can match yourself?
Exactly. They've got a limp. We almost limp in step.
Well, I've got another point to make. Like, just to round this back all out to Wortham.
Right.
Sure.
That's one thing that America has, Japan hasn't really experienced. I mean, yes, they have. Like you explained that there was some outrage back in the day, but I mean,
there was definitely plenty of it, but not to the level of the Puritanism of America.
Right, and the outrage back in the day that you guys had didn't actually manifest in the sense that, hey, we're going to stifle an entire industry because we don't like.
Yeah.
And that's what America's had to deal with. And I feel like we had creators like Stan Lee, and I'm sure there are those creators in Japan and China that would have picked up the.
I'd say Go Nagai is one of those creators.
They would have picked up the talisman and said, "Hey, we're not going to stand for this. We're going to create the shit that needs to be seen, needs to be read. We're going to tell the stories that we want to tell." And
like I said, Go Nagai, he made the entire ending of an ecchi manga into just bloody gore to fuck with these people.
Right.
He picked up that talisman. He shoved it in their face. He shoved it down their fucking throat.
Well, one thing that I could say is a little different in that is that when we had that kind of situation in America, we got Stan Lee, and instead of being blatant and being vulgar about it, Stan Lee essentially came out and said, "Hey, Harry Osborn is on drugs, and that's a problem." And that was what bucked the Comics Code Authority, and I think that shows a huge difference in the culture that we're dealing with.
Sure.
You don't get that kind of situation over in Japan. Like the culture itself is pretty much well established at this point. Like over there, you've got tentacle porn. Over here is, what do you have to say about capes and tights? So we've already been stifled.
Yeah.
And
I don't feel like I have much to add to this conversation at this point. I mean, I've said my piece. I've said some of the history surrounding all of this. If there's anything else I can, talk about that you guys would like to hear about, please let me know. But otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead. Sorry, what?
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Right. I was gonna say otherwise. I was just gonna head off because it is pretty late for me.
Okay, well, I mean, we'll
I
get
do
you
have
back
one.
on.
I do have one quick question.
Sure.
So I was talking to the guy at my liquor store, who listens to the show, if you're listening right now and I haven't seen you in the chat with somebody, he's an anime fan, and we were talking about what the show topic is tonight, and he brought up the fact that a lot of Japanese comics have like stories that end and don't go on for 15 years. Is that part of like a is that part of like a cultural thing in the way that say like Japanese folklore works, or like where do you think that comes from?
It's that was a really evolutionary difference. It goes back to Darwin's finches. Some finches would they'd evolve different beaks for different types of food. As far as Japanese manga goes, they just decided that stories should be shorter. They should end.
Actually,
unless it's Dragon Ball.
Well, yeah, actually, okay, that's fair.
This is actually an excellent thing, because I mentioned this before, but I didn't know I was going to get a chance to expound on it. Marvel tried to have a manga verse.
Go ahead and get out of here, Mello, if you want to, buddy. I understand. I appreciate you.
Fine. I can keep going if anybody needs me for anything, but I'd be happy to come on again.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is we'll definitely have you on again. We'll have a little bit of a structured discussion planned out. I had no idea how it was going to turn out.
This kind of turned into a shouting shit show.
Oh no, no, that's what we love here, though. That's what we're all about.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah.
I mean, that's what our show is, Mello. I don't know what show you've been on for the last month.
I wanted a break.
Well, yeah, that's fine.
Wait, you wanted a break and you came here?
I watched your show and said I've got to have. I watched your show and said I had to get you on, and you didn't know what you were in for. I'm sorry, buddy.
You guys asked me on. I'm just gonna say that. So any assholeness I did.
No,
we definitely appreciate it. Man. Go ahead and get some
assholeness from me.
No, if anyone's an asshole, I'm an asshole, and that's to be expected.
Correct. You have to be an asshole.
You guys all take care. I do hope to see you all soon.
Always. We'll get you back on it. We'll get you back on in the next couple of weeks, and we'll have a better structure.
He's gone.
Oh, yeah.
So I was gonna say. Marvel tried to make a mangaverse.
Yeah.
And it failed.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it failed is
because they can't hire good talent for something like that.
Well, when given the opportunity to make manga versions of their comics, they didn't research Japan or look into Japan or consider what Japan likes. They basically read 3 issues of Shonen Jump and said, okay, we're gonna do Spider-Man, but it's gonna be a story about rival ninja houses.
Well, without causing any offense for a minute, isn't that the American way?
That absolutely is.
That's the Marvel way, at least.
How dare you?
The reason I mention it is because we have found out in the last 30-ish years, maybe 20-ish years, that actually in Japan they love Western comics. Yeah. They like manga. They're not going to turn down manga, but they also love our comics. They love capes.
Somebody has to.
It's not just that they do loving satires of capes. They do straight up cape books. And they have the same problem there, trying to make capes in the East that we have trying to do manga here. That the local industry doesn't want the competition and tries to hide them out.
Well, I think the success of My Hero Academia in the last few years really shows that. Because that's just whether you like it or not. That's basically just one big love letter to Western comics and superheroes.
Oh yeah, and Empowered, if anybody remembers that. We're going to talk about Ecchi for a minute. Does no one remember Empowered?
You've lost me.
No, you've lost your Eastern comic contingent. I'm sorry.
It's okay. But anyway, yeah, no, they tried to do Spider-Man as a manga, and it just imploded. And I think they tried to do X-Men as well. And the irony is if they had just done classic stories in manga art, it would have done really well.
Well, that's why Batman. That's why the Batman manga did fairly well, right?
I don't know. I didn't read it.
Oh, the Bat manga. Yeah, I love the Bat manga. Yeah. That exactly. I mean, I'd read the shit out of like the classic Spider-Man stories, like redone in like the Japanese manga style. You know, I mean, I don't know why Marvel haven't done that. I mean, they'd probably make quite a lot of
because they
money
can't
on that,
afford the
to be
talent
honest.
of it. They can't afford the talent. To actually
Well,
do it
yeah,
correctly.
true.
because DC thinks that I Am Not Starfire is going to beat manga.
We do live in that world.
That's like Melvin Capital betting against GameStop.
I mean, stop me if this is like a conversation that's too long or not really for this show, but what the fuck is DC doing at the moment?
Fucking up.
A lot of black tar heroin, that's what they're doing.
Fuck it up. Mescaline.
I mean, I loved Rebirth like 5 years ago, but Future State is fucking stupid.
We don't disagree, my friend. Oh God. No, the thing is, DC last, and this is going to be a little controversial. Before Rebirth, DC's last successful property, in my opinion, was 52. Do you remember 52?
Oh, fucking yes. 52 was my jam. Like
52
I was all
was
over
fucking
52.
amazing. 52 was amazing because they looked at their property list and they said, you know, what can we do? What can we do that will actually, you know, re-entice our readers to read our shit? And they said, oh, well, we can get rid of, you know, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman for a year and see where that leaves our properties. And in doing that, they created an entire world of opportunity for themselves. It was something that hadn't been done properly to that point. Because we've had, you know, Bruce Wayne with his back broken and the introduction of the Asbat. Nobody fucking wanted the Asbat, okay?
I mean, I actually like Azrael as a character. I just don't like John Paul Valley.
Yeah, but the thing is nobody wanted Asbat, right?
Nobody wanted Asbat.
Azrael looks cool, but he's basically like every terrible 90s idea that came out.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the thesis idea behind Azrael, the idea of a Knights Templar-like institution that has made their own vigilante superhero is cool. But then everything in application is just awful.
It is very cool, enough. And you know, I think they did it better with the Court of Owls in New 52. But I think everything else in New 52 was just the same thing as Old 52, where they were like, "Hey, we're going to we're just going to fuck up everything we've done at this point." Wish me luck, bonsai.
Oh yeah,
I feel like you should pull up a Novel Bros picture in the Alive show chats, a brief history of Japan for the rest of this discussion.
Should I?
Yeah,
I would not.
Yeah, no, New 52, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it sold well, I'll give them that, but I don't know.
I think it sold well off the back of 52. That was the problem.
Well, yeah.
We talked about the idea.
Like, so when New 52 came out, I was still in high school and started getting back into comics at the time, and that was the new thing coming out.
Yeah,
I didn't know any better at the time. I was pretty young, like 15, 16-ish.
Well, yeah.
You know, I bought. I have, I think, a good section of the run of Green Lantern and the Green Lantern Corps from that.
Well, the reason that 52
I remember
worked
enjoying it at the time. I haven't read it since then, but I remember it being fun to read.
Well, the reason that 52 worked, just for your info, is because
Since we didn't finish it last year.
Well, you know, we'll get there. It was a lot. It was a lot. And we had other...
It was.
That's one of the reasons that I don't like bringing people on to promote stuff as much anymore. Because it takes away from our... Oh, God.
Our flow.
Yeah. It takes away from us being able to do the show we want to do. The thing is, the 52 worked so well because it was self-contained. It was one title, and it came out weekly. So, what was the cost of comics back then? What, $3.50?
I think as well.
Something like that.
I think as well, another reason why it was so successful is it sort of came around at the perfect time, didn't it? Where like superhero movies were getting really big, you know, and like all of a sudden you had these new number ones, like in a new contained like continuity.
Let's put it into perspective, right? Like during 52 era, what was the time frame? 52 DC. What was the time frame? That was 2006. Average.
Okay.
Comic cost 2006.
So you would have had Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. The first couple X-Men movies were out at that time. Like, you know, that's kind of what got me back into it. I was like, oh man.
Sam, yeah.
These movies are fun.
2006, everything was $2.99. So you had 52 issues at $2.99. That was $155 for that entire run. Okay. Now, comic book reading order.
And you know, if you're a high school kid working a part-time job, you know,
that's affordable. You can afford $3 a week.
Yeah, you could do that.
Well, let's look at Secret Wars 2015. That was 2015 though. So let's look at median comic prices in 2015. It was already $4. So $3.99 times 230 books. That's almost $1,000 worth of comic books to read everything in Secret Wars 2015.
Yeah, I couldn't do that now.
Okay. I couldn't do that now. I don't sell drugs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I could. I could afford it, but I couldn't justify spending that much money.
Right. So, Secret Wars was lightning in a bottle that not Secret Wars, Jesus Christ. 52 was lightning in a bottle that they caught and tried to recapture in New 52. And then I feel like they tried to also recapture it in Rebirth, and obviously in Rebirth it just didn't fucking work, right? Are you familiar with Rebirth, Data?
Yeah. I mean, I was there at the start of it. Like, I was when they revealed Dr. Manhattan as sort of like being the cause of it. I was like really hyped as a huge Watchmen fan, and obviously later down the line that went to shit a bit.
And let me just break that down for you. Also, as a huge Watchmen fan, and Ayrton can attest to this, we reviewed the first like 5 or 6 episodes of the Watchmen show, and I shit all over that.
Lube Man
is the best part of that show. But the thing is as a Watchmen fan, when they tried to wrap Watchmen into the main DC continuity, I checked out.
I mean, sorry, you go ahead.
No, that was the end of the statement.
Well, no, I was going to comment. The thing is, we knew that was coming because before that, DC had started trying to fold Vertigo, specifically Sandman, into mainstream DC.
Vertigo is a different animal than Watchmen. Watchmen was a standalone graphic novel.
No.
Yes.
No.
I will argue to the death with you on this, Joe.
That's not relevant.
It is.
Because what I'm talking about
because they had already done it with Constantine. They had already done it with Constantine. It set the precedent.
First, Church. Then you
doesn't matter
with the intern.
What I'm trying to say is that there is a world of inappropriateness and absolute destruction of character. Okay, when you're flipping through your comic and they're showing their preview for their new DC event where they're going to fold in the other, what are they, internals or the other factions of reality?
Yes,
like Morpheus, and you have Death touching Lex Luthor on the nose, giving him a boop, right, to show him that I can kill you, but I'm just a cute pixie manic dream girl. It's not right. It doesn't fit. It doesn't belong. But it was the test for let's do other stupid shit.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the thing is the Watchmen universe was never part. Like the thing is, they set the precedent with Vertigo by bringing in Constantine. Okay, that's the point that I was making. Constantine
what
can exist in either or. He was kind of the lifeline between DC and Vertigo.
So can Morpheus. Morpheus appeared in DC, and that was fine.
Yes, and that's the thing. They set the precedent for that way before, but then they tried to bring in people like Dr. Manhattan and Owlman, and these characters existed in a world without a Superman.
Watchmen was originally, I'm probably just saying stuff you already know, but like Watchmen was originally DC had just bought like characters from Charleston Comics, like for Question and Captain Atom and stuff, and Alan Moore was like, "Oh, why don't I make a series?" It was
Captain Atom, The Question, and a bunch of other characters,
and Blue Beetle, and Alan Moore said, "Why don't I make a comic out of these?" But DC didn't want to like kill off their new characters, so they gave him it told him to create characters loosely based off those, and that's sort of where Watchmen comes about, and that's like its own entire thing. Like I don't really consider that Vertigo. I mean, it's only Vertigo in like branding only.
No, I wasn't trying to infer that at all. I understand Watchmen's its own thing. I totally agree. Watchmen should be in its own pool.
And if you need a character like Dr. Manhattan, you have the fucking New Gods. Jack Kirby gave you the New Gods. He gave you Apocalypse. You have characters of that scale. You have a Dr. Manhattan already.
My thing about the New 52, because it's the only thing I have to say about the New 52, it's the entire reason why I didn't read it, is we've already talked on the show about events and whether or not events are the worst thing in the multiverse because they're these annual 2 a year to 4 a year objects that are must-have, that change everything but have no lasting effects. Blah 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 blah. So, I hadn't read a DC comic in years since reading some old Bat graphic novels. Dark Knight, Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth, and so on. I read Alezro. Is that how it's announced? His Joker.
Yeah. Alazro, but
yeah.
Or Alonzo, I'm not sure.
I read some stuff. So. I was like, okay, what's going on in New 52? Why should I be interested in this? And the claim to fame for the New 52 seemed to be that we're going to retool Batman so he's more like Christian Bale. Okay. Yeah. I mean, visuals are visuals.
And we're gonna bring the Bat family full circle, and we're going to make them prominent again.
And then this was the thing. This was my introduction to the idea of New 52. Was that Selina Kyle and Bruce Wayne finally stop fucking around and you're going to get married, but first they have to bang on the Batmobile. What?
Naturally.
This is also after Batman banged Batgirl. That happened.
That only happened in Bruce Timm, as far as I know. If they actually made that canon in main comics, they done fucked up.
They've made everything Batman main canon for some reason. They made
Jesus Christ.
Main canon.
Yeah, no. Well, because that's the reason that they were pilfering Vertigo. That's the reason why they're trying to bring in Watchmen. All of their Elseworlds content, where they didn't have the same restrictions, but they had the same expectations of quality, is just better than their mainstream stuff, and they know it.
Well, and that's something that I'd like to get into with Mello the next time we have him on, because we breached the topic very briefly before he left. But one of the things that I've been a big proponent of is in characters. Characters should die. I mean, Superman should not be 90 years old now. Batman should not be 90 years old. Peter Parker should not be in his 70s.
The problem is, I'm not saying you're wrong, I agree, we should end some of this stuff sometime, is when we experiment with ending, not only do we seem to underestimate the popularity of given incarnations of characters, but the replacements aren't better. The legacy character that inherits is not better.
I would disagree with you on the grounds of Jaime Reyes.
I mean, that's actually a thing.
But I would counter with the highly controversial opinion that Miles Morales is garbage.
Well, here's the thing. My son only knows Miles as Batman, or as Spider-Man, I'm sorry. My son only knows Miles as Spider-Man.
Wow.
That's right. That's right.
No, I get you.
My son only knew Miles as Spider-Man because of Into the Spider-Verse, and he's 9. Okay? That's the only Spider-Man that he would have been exposed to if they hadn't held on to Peter Parker for as long as they had, and he loves Miles. Now, I might not love Miles, but I'm not buying Marvel Comics right now for that very reason. They need to be targeting people like my child. They need to be forcing me to buy Miles Morales comic books for my 9-year-old son.
Sure. The thing is that, again, this isn't new, because people didn't like Ben Reilly. I never had a problem with Ben Reilly. I just think he's just...
I love Ben Reilly.
And people didn't care for the Peter Parker of 2099. What is it, O'Hara?
Miguel O'Hara.
Miguel O'Hara, yeah. And I actually liked 2099 because I'm a Venom fan, and Venom 2099 was amazing.
I like the 2099. We should do a review on that shit, on some of that.
2099 it gets too much flack. I mean, it had some cool ideas.
2099 got some flack because they had 3 terrible titles. X-Men 2099 was trash. Ravage was garbage. And Hulk 2099. No.
Yeah, Hulk 2099 is a mess.
Yeah, Hulk 2099, Ravage, and X-Men 2099 were terrible. The rest of 2099 actually worked. In fact, I love the fact that Dr. Doom got ported to 2099, and he's like, well, fuck it, I'll just take this world over instead.
Doom is a freaking... That's the thing. 2099 is such a messed up dystopia that Doom is a hero. That's amazing.
Right.
Speaking of Doom, sorry, quick sidebar. We need to do like a watch party review of the Fantastic Four of the Fantastic Four cartoon movie from like the 60s about the Super Skrull.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen it, but okay.
I mean, it's so wonderfully bad. I mean, the line...
I mean, if we do this, can we watch the 90s era Fantastic Four with Sue Storm in the bondage gear and Tim Curry as Dr. Doom? Because that's fucking amazing.
I grew up on that shit. That was like my exposure.
But
seriously, Mr. Fantastic going, there you are, whoever you are. We need to review this. Anyway.
Also, by that same token, required viewing is the 90s era Iron Man cartoon just for that opening.
Oh, yes. I'm Iron Man.
Back when we could have Yellow Peril and people didn't complain as long as the Yellow Peril was green skinned and had rings.
Oh yeah, no. Well, let's not get into to Master of Kung Fu then.
I'm just saying. No, that's the thing. It's like everyone's like, "Well, I'm okay with Master of Kung Fu because an Asian guy does Kung Fu," but you don't like the Mandarin. An Asian guy who found alien rings and became green is offensive to you?
Well, I mean, what's offensive to me is merging Thanos with the Mandarin and Thanos, Mandarin.
What? Wait, what?
Manitos, what? Hands of Fate.
What?
Oh no, that's part of the new Marvel shit.
Yeah, you missed last week's show.
Here, I'll bring it up for you.
Okay, I'm gonna control my outrage.
No, have you got the stream up, Rune?
I will look at it again. I got it going. I'm looking at Astro Boy. Astro Boy is nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up the Thanos cover.
Here we go.
For you. I'm gonna open that.
I'm gonna be clear.
Let me be clear.
I like Thanos. I got a lot of Thanos. I'm not a Thanos fanboy. Okay, I just like Marvel space content.
I preferred the classic comic Thanos where his whole deal was that he wanted to fuck death.
You know, I think they
No,
should have that in the Marvel film.
that's still Thanos. Anybody who says that Thanos' deal is not that is wrong.
There, look, there we go. We got Thanos with the Mandarin rings instead of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Again, the suicide hotline prevention
Thanos,
up on the screen.
Mandarin,
my name,
Manos, Hand of Fate.
734-930-3030.
That's 1-800 Dominoes for anybody that doesn't know numbers. That's 1-800 Dominoes. Just get yourself a Supreme and you'll love to live again.
I have to ask the question why. Why does Thanos want the rings?
Because
don't ruin my bit, Church. That's Domino's corporate number up here in Michigan.
in Heroes Reborn, they're reimagining a bunch of characters. Rune, have you not seen the Juggerdoom?
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Oh well, here we go. I got Juggerdoom pulled up for everybody.
Right,
there we go.
Hold on. Before you start pulling this shit up again, I'm gonna go give myself liver cirrhosis.
There's Juggerdoom. Now, I said this last week. I said this last week, but I'll say it again. Either this is Kane Marco, who has taken on the mantle of Doom, or this is Doom, who has completely gone off script and become a servant of Sidorak, which is something that Victor Von Doom would never do.
My question is, why green spandex shorts and not just a Juggernaut suit in steel?
There's a Dillard.
With
a wild Dillard appears.
Medieval uniform.
What up, guys?
They could do this so much.
Dillard always shows up right at the end of the show.
Dillard,
calm down.
Dillard, go fix this. Fix this for me before I go insane.
What's up, buddy?
I can fix anything for you.
Well, technically you owe me art, but I'm not going to waste my art on this. I will figure out something good.
I owe you art? What do I owe you?
Yes. I won the competition when you were having one of the streams for the Buckler, which should back if they still can. If you haven't backed the Buckler,
was it? I forgot.
I actually won like a piece of like 1-page splash art type deal.
Okay, I'll get that out to you as soon as I finish.
Well, no, I gotta tell you what I want. I said I'd get back to you about it. I haven't figured it out yet.
All right.
Oh, okay.
What's up, Dillard? What's going on, buddy?
Nothing. I saw you guys were live. I wanted to join the party.
Have you been drinking now,
Sounds
Dillard?
like you've been partying for a minute.
Nah, not at all.
I mean,
my usual chipper self.
I mean, he has a young child now. Of course, he's drinking.
Well, we've been talking about Eastern and Western comics. We've been talking about the GameStop stock, and now we're back on Heroes Reborn because that's terrible.
Because Church wants to hurt me, and I understand why.
Because I hate you.
I mean, you're already crippled, so.
Yeah, it's basically kicking a crippled kid down and making him crawl. I get it.
So
you can't pick on crippled kids. That's super wrong.
So to ask to ask a really obvious question, who's going to look at this shit and like take it seriously? Because all this is making me want to do is, well, other than her, but this is just making me want to laugh. To be honest.
So what these comic books are, from my point of view, are all of those companies when like. Back in the VHS times when they would film like a knockoff of like Die Hard, but they would call it like Die Difficultly.
Oh, you mean like Speed?
And then your grandma would be there at the checkout, and they'd see it sitting there and be like, "Oh yeah, my grandson said he liked this movie. I'm gonna buy this for him." That's basically what these comics are in modern times.
I see.
Said the blind man to the deaf girl as the legless man limped away.
Exactly.
So what company are making these comic books that you're talking about, these knockoff comics?
They're not knockoffs.
Marvel, apparently.
No, they're not knockoffs.
Apparently Marvel and DC have decided to make knockoffs of themselves. They're going to beat the market to it.
Yeah, they're...
Juggerdoom? What is this we're looking at?
Yeah, that's Juggerdoom. Don't you want to be Jugger Doom, Dillard?
And like I said, I'm trying to understand why they, instead of just having him be like a highly Juggernaut-styled suit of armor, and then giving him the classic like green cloak and hood ensemble that looks amazing, they decided to put him in green Spanx with brass knuckles. That's so stupid.
So when you hit somebody, with those, Doom knuckles, though, you don't understand. It spells out mood.
Oh, so what you're saying is, in fact, it doesn't say Louvre and hot on each knuckle?
Yeah. No, it's it's Doom, but it'll come out backwards, so you'll have mood on your head.
Put the rope down, RuneKnight.
No, this doesn't make me want to kill myself. That's the thing. I say it wants to make me kill myself, but no, what it does, it makes me angry because I'm filled with contempt at the idea that someone got paid for this. Not just that someone got paid to draw this. The art's actually not that terrible because it's not even in comics.
Well, it's cover art, so don't get excited.
Yeah, no.
It's not that terrible.
What aggravates me is that someone got paid to write this. Someone got paid to write this.
Yeah.
That person should not have their job. Or should give me their job, and I'll do their job better. Because I'm not kidding. I will take Jugger Doom, as stupid a concept as that is, and I will make it good.
There we go. I pulled the image up for you, Ayrton.
Which?
A 78-year-old warmonger.
Oh, that. No, not that one.
No, he means the brief history of Japan.
Got to scroll down a bit.
Don't do it.
I don't
do it.
Is that in live show chats?
Yeah,
and
live show chats.
No, I'm not pulling that up.
Look, having already threatened a guest with physical violence that I cannot fulfill, and being a shitlord, I'm gonna say that's in poor taste, man. Don't put that on the stream.
Yeah, you threatened a guest to wrestle IRL.
I mean, yeah, because gimp wrestling is amusing for the populace.
It is.
That's true.
Two disabled people flailing at each other in a pool of liquid jello.
Look, don't dox my fetishes live on air, okay? Dillard left.
And not just church's fetishes. Don't dox my new business idea. Come on now.
It's like bum fights, but with cripples.
Yeah, bum fights 2.0, motherfuckers. We're gonna have a triple amputee and somebody with cerebral palsy wrestle it out in some fucking lime jello.
Wait, you want me to wrestle my mom in lime jello? What the fuck?
I hate you all.
That's correct.
What the actual, and I cannot stress this enough, fuck.
I mean, she's got her seasonal bronchitis right now. I think I could take her, but I just don't think it's fair to my mom.
Dillard, can you save the show before we get out of here?
Make it worse.
Anyway.
Serious question. How is the dill pickle?
What is that?
The child.
No, the child.
Rune's asking about
the kid's good. The kid had a serious bout of baby acne or something. It was all fucked up in the face.
So what you're saying is she looks like you.
You fucker.
This can't be right? This kid's all jacked up looking. We got to get this shit looked at. And I don't know what it is about baby skin. Maybe it's the stem cells. I don't know. But the next morning, completely.
The most ripped Winston Churchill you've ever seen.
Jesus Christ!
Like mother of pearl.
I do this weekly for you people. I hope you understand. My liver is suffering for you.
You'd be drinking as much whether we did the show as not or not. Come on, don't lie.
So wait a minute, Church. so Church, I gotta ask then.
Yeah.
Does this mean that if you assume the correct manga pose and reach into your chest cavity, you just pull out a giant like crucifix sword?
No.
He pulls out the Rambone.
That's right. Yes. It's a giant 3-foot dildo with a handle.
Okay, so if anyone actually defeats you, you turn into a cross because you have to be crucified for our sins.
Correct.
No, because they have to be crucified for your sins. I turn into the cross. They have to be crucified.
So
you sacrifice the champion.
Like magnet. It's like you turn into a cross and then giant nails fly down from space and hit people like an asteroid and they are just nailed into you.
Yes.
At force.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
You're taking this down, Dillard. This is what I'm going to need drawn for the comic book version of my story.
I'm not fucking gonna pause. Don't even.
Dillard's like, I'm doing Hail Marys right now. Fuck you. Oh. See, Data, this is what we do every week.
Yeah, no, it sounds a lot fun of a mashup.
Dude, holy shit, I forgot you were even in the call.
No,
You've been
cool,
quiet
man.
the past like 10 minutes.
I'm just being vibing.
He's just sitting there with like a little notepad taking notes like some kind of nature observer, seeing the natural American nerd in his habitat.
Well, you guys heard who I do a show with, so Jesus Christ,
See, at least we get drunk during the show. We don't show up drunk.
Oh yeah.
Speak for yourself. I had a couple pints.
Go on about Dune Law for about 2 hours.
Well, I mean, I have been.
About Secret Wars for 2 hours.
Speaking of which, let me tell you about Battle World.
God, this fucking tree that I'm growing in my front yard cannot grow fast enough.
Right. No. Look, all you got to do is put a stool under it and just get on your knee. Like, just don't put your feet down, okay?
All right, fair point.
It takes willpower to hang yourself in that tree. No, I don't know, man. I just you said you're into American comics, Data. What's your forte? Like we've talked about some of the stuff you have read. What is your forte into American comics during the last few minutes of the show here?
Your Secret Wars?
Well, what's my secret was? I'd say my forte is I quite like a lot of the classics. I'm really into Grant Morrison and Neil Gaiman and shit like that. Obviously stuff like Arkham Asylum, Serious House on a Serious Earth, and the Sandman shit. And I quite so I'd say mine is sort of like a lot of the British invasion stuff of like the early 90s.
Saying.
Now, do you have any of the old British Marvel comics that are magazine sized?
I've read some of them. Like I've read like the British Marvel Doctor Who comics and like the Transformers stuff they did, but I'm not old enough to actually own any physical stuff. A lot of the stuff I have is just on like Kindle Comixology.
I was going to say, if you, I'll hit you up after the show. I've got some resources for you to check out some of that older stuff that you don't want to buy.
Cool, yeah,
don't open any file this guy sends you.
It's just going to be a bunch. It's just going to be 26 pages of my dick with a comic book cover on it. You'll love it. It'll be great.
Well, even better, man.
So with that, we've got about a minute left in the show, so I'll go around and let everybody get their last word in. Data, thank you so much for coming on, and thank Mello for us. We really loved it. It was a great show. I enjoyed having you guys here.
For being drunk, he was weirdly
fairly coherent.
Of all the anime history.
Oh, you should see him sober.
I was impressed.
Plug your show, too. I've got your YouTube channel down in the description below. I've got both you guys' Twitter handles.
Yep, we do Autism Corner 3 days a week. You know, we have a good time. I try to learn in Mellow's autism. You know, so the Dune talk is only like 20% of the show. Okay. But we have a good time. We just shoot the shit. You know, I wanted to like do something like the old sort of shock jock morning radio of like the early 2000s. So that's sort of what we kind of do. It's not as like organized as you guys. You know,
we're organized. What the
fuck? What the fuck are you smoking? And
who lied to you?
No. What he means is I tell you guys what we're talking about an hour before the show starts.
Oh,
basically, yeah, more or less.
But anyway, Dillard, what have you got going on? The buckler is still in demand, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
That's correct, sir. You are correct. And if you want to get the buckler, go ahead and do it now. It's your last chance. I just finished all the inks for the additional book that's coming along with the graphic novel, The Temple of Polar Twilight, and I am currently coloring it. I am now on page 5. So this is going to be done lickety-split.
Okay. In matter of point, Dillard, I will very soon, if my mom can stop being sick, have something for you.
Well, that is on Indiegogo.com. You go to Indiegogo, you search up the buckler, you buy that, you put your money towards it. You buy 2 copies so you can give it to somebody else and tell them they're fucking their life.
The buckler is a hedge against inflation.
Correct. Right. If you're worried about GameStop crashing the economy, then buy multiple copies of the buckler so you'll have tradable currency when the stock market crashes.
Exactly.
Silver, gold, no, buckler.
That's right. Ayrton, are you still doing music talk, or is that just dead?
I'm working on getting some more people. It kind of like with the holidays and shit kind of died off, and
the man says this at the end of January when there hasn't been a holiday in a month.
Well, okay, I stopped trying to book people, and then now I have to get back into the routine of being, it's. I'm working on.
I got it. No, I understand.
I do actually though.
Look, I play the spoons if you need an emergency guest. Okay, I will come on and play the spoons for you.
But I do actually. I have some stuff coming out. There is a new SoundCloud that I just created. That tracks will be up on Ayrton McCartney, like all of my other fucking shit.
Yeah. He uses his real name like a pleb.
Yeah, well, there's one track up there right now. Some more will be coming in the next couple of weeks.
All right, Rune, how's the Old Man Gaming podcast coming, buddy? No comment. Got it. Anyway, that is all, folks. Thank you for coming, hanging out. Leave a like, do a comment, whatever. Share this with your friend. Tell them to check us out either on Friday or Saturday night, or Friday, Saturday, or Sunday night over here on the Church of Failure, the Gospel of Comics.
Whenever we don't have food poisoning.
Right. But until then, we will see you guys next week, and thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.